Well, hello there, Mies. As you can tell, we are in a new setting today because my awesome boss at my undisclosed work location has let me use one of our rooms. So, let's try this out, shall we? So one of my Tumblr followers asked if I would do a movie review, and I thought since I've seen a lot of movies over the summer, why not just review all of the ones that I've seen? So my main plan is to try to hit 3 different topics about each film, and we'll just kind of go from there. And maybe I'll have more to say about something, and maybe I'll have less to say. It just all depends, because some of these movies were at the beginning of May, and that was a long time ago from now. And a little disclaimer before I start reviewing anything is that everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Maybe you loved a movie that I'm about to talk about, maybe you hated a film that I'm about to talk about, but the point is, everyone has their own opinion, and that's what the comments section is for. So I started off my summer with Iron Man 3. All in all, I really liked it. I thought it was going to be a little bit darker since Shane Black was directing it, maybe a little bit more violence. But the humor in the film was definitely nostalgic towards something like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I know there were some people who were upset that they changed the Mandarin a little bit, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but that was out a long time ago, man. You should probably get on that. So yes, you should see Iron Man 3 if you haven't, and I can't wait till the next Marvel movie comes out. The next movie I saw over the summer was Star Trek Into Darkness. I also really enjoyed this film. I thought the dialogue definitely kept everything going and driving what was going on, and on top of that, the action sequences were just frickin' amazing. I'm also a huge Benedict Cumberbatch fan, and I feel that his performance during this movie was probably one of the best of the summer. Especially that one scene where he has the one tear roll down his cheek. You know which one I'm talking about. And if you don't, you should see the movie. Just simple as that. I then saw Man of Steel in the IMAX, which is probably the only way you should see it because it's amazingly beautiful when it's that gigantic in front of you. This is another one of those films that I know that a lot of people were divided on. I personally really liked this movie. I had just read Son of Krypton right before I went to see it. People kept complaining about the destruction of the city, and if you've read Son of Krypton, there's just Kryptonian space pods crashing into everything known to man. So honestly, that didn't bother me as much. I know there was another huge spoiler that I'm not going to talk about that it really bothered people. But I feel that for the direction they're going with these movies, a darker tone, I think it worked. So you should see it if you haven't seen it. It's awesome. A+. I liked it. The standard Pixar movie of my summer was Monsters University, which was very nostalgic to my childhood and I loved. Pixar always does a great job of melding adult humor into a family environment, and it makes it comfortable for everybody to watch. Definitely loved all of the characters, and if you haven't seen this one, once again, you should see it. So far, I have not given one bad review. Hopefully you don't think I just like everything. But I do. It's hard for me to not like movies. One of my favorite movies of the summer was Pacific Rim, and if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? You need to... Everyone in the room except you has seen it, and you should go watch it right now. The best way to describe this movie is that it's Top Gun with robots. That's right, Top Gun with robots. This is a movie I went for just the action. The dialogue is very cheesy at times, and I was kind of sitting there like, I can't believe that they actually just said that. But yet again, Top Gun with robots, so it didn't bother me as much. Idris Elba is probably my favorite part of the entire movie, especially just because he's a total badass. But yeah, you should see it. You should just, you know, yet again, I'm telling you to click out of my own video, so you should go watch Pacific Rim. Right now. One movie that I didn't really have hope for because of all of the trailers was probably World War Z. I did see it. I thought it was okay. This is one of those times where I'm going to be one of those typical people that says that the book is better, but I just liked the fact that the book takes place after the event, I guess is the best way to describe it. I just loved the whole reporter feel and how he's going and talking to people about, you know, what they experienced. This movie was good, but I have to say that I'm not a fan of action zombie. I felt that there wasn't enough violence for what was going on around them. Especially when there was certain times where you kind of felt like they went with it because they wanted more views out of a PG-13 showing instead of going all out and for a rated R. I guess this would kind of count as a spoiler, so if you don't want to hear it, try to skip forward a little bit. But there's a part where a person gets their arm cut off and all they show is the knife go down and then they just show the person's reaction. I mean, it's a zombie movie. The whole point of a zombie movie is the fact that you get to see people ripped to pieces. And they didn't even show a clean, apparently it was a clean cut because there wasn't like any, one swipe and it was good to go. So that kind of bothered me. I also didn't really like the fact that the zombies were fast-moving. Like, slow can be scary and terrifying, especially, you know, when there's so many of them. It's all about volume. There's one movie that I really, really, really wanted to be good, and I was hoping it was going to be good, and it might have just been because I felt that Ryan Reynolds needed a break on being in bad comic book movies. But R.I.P.D. is horrible, and you should not go see it. It was bad. The whole thing is, the CGI is terrible. Terrible. Like, it's one of those movies that's just so campy that you can't believe they actually spent money on the CGI they did have. And on top of that, they steer away from blood, which, for a movie that is about people being dead, I was really, really against in the first place. But the one blood scene they do have, it's CGI. All of the blood is horribly, horribly CGI'd. And I could complain about this movie for a while. Jeff Bridges was funny, and then you had Mary Louise Parker in it, and their little conversations were pretty good. A lot of cheesy, though. So this was probably the one movie I wish I hadn't seen over the summer, and I'm probably going to spend a lot of time trying to forget it, especially like the Green Lantern movie that must not be named. But by saying the title, I kind of did name it. Next on our midnight movie list was The Wolverine, which, yet again, I really, really liked this movie. There were some people complaining about it, but I feel for what the comic book was, they definitely updated a lot of the characters to make sense and what's already happened in the X-Men universe, especially with his love interest, like him not knowing her beforehand, which was really interesting. There was a couple parts that I thought were a little bit random, where you've seen it in the trailers, where he fights a huge samurai robot, and that to me was just them trying to add an evil Iron Man into the movie. But I was okay with it. I just, like, when you look at the samurai's face, it clearly looks like an Iron Man. So there was that. One thing that made the movie tense was they kind of nerfed his healing factor abilities, so it gave a lot of crazy moments of the film where, like, oh, he could actually probably die. But you know he's not going to die because he's going to be in X-Men Days of Future Past. So that's not really a spoiler to tell you that he lives. Or is it? And then there was Elysium. I have to say that I really did like this movie. There was a couple of things that really, really drove me up the wall. The sound was off in a couple parts, and there's a guy named Spider, and he has this really, really long dialogue scene with Matt Damon, and as he's talking, you can maybe understand 2 to 3 words of what he's saying, and it doesn't look like his mouth is going with the vocals at all. The other really, really bad thing for me during the movie was Jodie Foster's accent, because I couldn't get past it. Every time she was in a scene, the accent ruined it for me. And yet again, the ADR kind of probably messed with that a little bit, because the ADR to me was the one thing I can complain about. Other than that, the movie was awesome. The special effects were amazing. The CGI for the robots was phenomenal. There were certain points where I couldn't tell if it was CGI or it was actually they had built these robots to walk and move around and actually act, but it's awesome. Copley is an awesome villain in it. He has a lot of comedic parts, but he's also very, very terrifying with the way he pulls it off, and just his fight scenes are crazy. I will also say that I really liked the way the robots were handled, because they couldn't take sarcasm very well, and it was just something that you see today on a lower scale when you have to call somebody and you get one of those damn answering services. But it's really well done because it's big scale. His parole officer is a robot, and he doesn't understand anything he's trying to tell him. So it's a really well done version of showing what happens when you let robots take over more of the jobs that people have, and how a lot of things can be misunderstood because they have no compassion. But yes, you should see Elysium. Definitely don't miss out on it. It's an awesome ride, and it's one of those movies that is just action-packed. The second to last movie of my summer was Kick-Ass 2, and I really, really liked it. I feel that they toned down a lot of the violence from the first one. It definitely seemed like they didn't take as many leaps when it came to the action scenes, but I really, really enjoyed it. There was a lot of humor in this one. Hit Girl was awesome. I felt that she wasn't in the movie as much as she should have been, because I feel that that was a lot of people's favorite character from the first ones, and it's kind of like they put her on the sidelines for a lot of things, which really is one of the things that bothered me. It definitely pokes fun at the fact that they're not really heroes, and there's a lot of people in the movie that I really didn't expect to see. I enjoyed it though, so you should definitely support the movie by going to a theater. And the last movie on my list for the summer was The World's End, which I got to go to the Alamo Drafthouse for. I had a pint of beer while I watched this fantastic Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Edgar Wright directed phenomenon, and I really loved it. That could just be me being a fanboy because I've loved every other movie that they've done together, but it is phenomenal. The fight sequences were so amazing, and it definitely went from you couldn't tell what was CGI and you couldn't tell what was animatronic, and the way they fused those fight scenes together to make it flow so perfectly is amazing. Also, one thing that I really liked that they did was the fact that Simon Pegg usually plays the very, very reserved character, while Nick Frost plays the very, crazy, offensive character. And in this one, they swapped them. And it was really cool to see them take the different sides and see how they played it off. And Nick Frost is amazing when he's trying to be reserved and you're just remembering him and other things. Nick Frost is also definitely the action hero of the whole thing. The whole cast is awesome, and even Martin Freeman is in it, so if you were on the fence because you wanted a reason to go see it, Martin Freeman is hilarious. So go see that. I would say definitely go to a movie that potentially serves beer, because seeing a movie that's about drinking beer while having a beer always makes the experience better. Alright, so that's my quick movie reviews. I'm sure that I didn't make 3 points about every single one because I kind of gave in to not doing that once I remembered how long it has been since I've seen most of these. But you should definitely go see the majority of them, except for the ones that I told you weren't that great. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I just wanted to thank the 130 of you who have subscribed to my channel. There's not going to probably be any viral videos on here. I don't own the pet or have the time to videotape an animal for that long. So there's that. The one animal you do see on this channel is my parents, so there's always the chance that someday I might catch something random that the dog does, but those chances are low, and now I'm rambling. So you guys have a good day, night, morning, whenever you're watching this video. There'll be more videos coming soon, probably from this place, because I'm really liking how comfortable I am in here. This is me still trying to figure out what direction I want to take these videos, and maybe I'll do more movie reviews, maybe I'll try to add more to the movie reviews, but like I said, there was a lot to go through and I wanted to try to get them all in one video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, Mies.